All right, YouTube, back with episode 2, part 2. Okay? Of the Rico case. Crackhead BOUGIE. Okay? So, remember, Tiny thought that Crackhead Pete spray painted his car. When I confronted Crackhead Pete, Crackhead BOUGIE was like, no, I did it. I did it. Almost like he was proud of it, but he knew he had to stand on it, but he knew that shit was going to go bad for him. I could tell by the look on his face that he knew, and he was probably already zapped out of his mind too. When he confessed to that shit, I don't care how high he was, he knew that something was going to happen to him, right? So, when I tell Tiny, that's like our last communication about the situation, right? He like runs off all mad, or, you know, he was going to handle it on his own. So, and there's a reason for that, because me and Tiny were starting to fall out over him raising my price on some shit. I quit. I was like, I'm done. I'm not fucking with you. Do that all yourself. That fool had more weed. We'll just say more than a person or two weighed. Okay? So I was like, I'm not fucking with you, man. I quit. Right? So he was, for the first time in the game, totally by himself. For the most part. Right? So he's like, fuck it. Like, trying to show that he's like the man, right? So instead of going through the proper channels in a situation like this, he didn't. And he went and got some of his guys that were like, most of them were probably under the age of 18. Mind you, he's probably like, I'm probably like 20. He's maybe, I don't know how old. He's about 19, I'm maybe 20. Right? So this fool, I guess, caught himself bossing up, right? And so he was like on his own for the first time in this scenario. And we'll get into more into Tiny later, right? So Tiny hears that it was Crackhead BOUGIE, who's just been like a fucking pest his whole existence, right? Tiny finds out it's Crackhead BOUGIE that spray painted his car, and it kind of throws him off, but it doesn't matter at all. They're both in the same league, right? It's probably better for him that it was Crackhead BOUGIE, right? So he's heated. I let him know what's up, and he breaks communication. Worst shit ever, right? He breaks communication, even though, honestly, I shouldn't have had nothing to do with this scenario anyway. It didn't have shit to do with me. It didn't have shit to do with me. It didn't. But I still just ain't gonna let nobody just go all the way nutso on none of my guys, right? Even if they're on some bitch shit momentarily. So I'm just, before I can even like say or do anything or help out at all, this fool gets like 5 people. He gets Gangster Measle and some other dudes to, he gets Gangster Measle and like 4 other dudes to run up on crackhead Bougie while he's at Pete's house, right? Now, Pete's house is like, Pete's like this black dude. Crackhead Pete is this black dude who got adopted by some Russians, right? So he's like a silver spoon ass, like fuck up ass motherfucker. He's older than us. They're both older than us, right? They're grown. We're like just becoming like, you know, we're like 19, 20. These motherfuckers are like 30 something maybe, right? So, and they're addicts, right? So Pete's crib is kind of like the spot, right? He don't have no responsibility and shit. He's drunk all day and shit. So it's like you can really just walk in this place, man, for the most part, right? I mean, at one point, Tiny lived there. It was either before or after this happened. Like, this was somewhere where he could have walked up, opened the door, and walked in. Instead of handling it himself, he goes and gets 5 people to go and put the beat down on crackhead Bougie. Mind you, you don't need 5 people to handle crackhead Bougie. We have been beating his ass since we were like 14 years old, every time he pulled a stunt. So he hires some motherfuckers to go over there and do this shit, right? So I'm like, I have no clue. So like, the next day I come over and I walk in the crib and Pete's like, oh, bro, you don't know? And I'm like, fuck you mean I don't know? And he's like, everybody's in jail. I'm like, what? Huh? For what? And he starts to tell me what happened. And I'm like, so Gangster Measle and some other individuals show up there, kick the door down. Everybody's wearing a ski mask except for Gangster Measle. Now, Gangster Measle is Tiny's boy, right? Period. Gangster Measle drives this fucking little green truck, and he has one of those work lock boxes on the back, right? It's like a little S10 or something. Cornball shit, right? Drives a little S10, and he's got 2 pounds of weed in his lockbox as they come to do this shit. So they kick the door down, and there's 2 different cars. So they come 2 carloads deep, kick the door down that was probably unlocked. I guess shock factor, I guess. Kick the door down when they don't even need to. Run in there and start spraying mace. Crackhead Bougie runs off, dives through the door, which has like a big plate glass window, like one of them ones that's like colored and it has like a design in it. I forgot what it was. This crackhead motherfucker dives through a closed window in a door, smashes through it, cuts his leg from like the middle of his shin all the way to the top of his thigh, like a big S is what it looked like, right? The crackhead dives through the window, almost kills himself, cutting his leg open. I mean, this shit was like, it was like at least 100 stitches or more to close his leg up, right? He dives through the window, runs off, but leaves his girlfriend there. Leaves his girlfriend. Now, one of the people under one of the ski masks is his own brother. His own brother is in on this, right? I forgot what they got paid. His own brother is in on this, right? His younger brother. So, because he runs off, they catch his bitch, man, and whoop the shit out of her. With like, I think somebody grabbed like a mop, man, and just started like giving her the business. Somebody else like pepper sprayed her, maced her, whatever. Like, they went savage, y'all. And it's fucked up. But it's like, that's what you get for fucking with somebody that does reckless, dumb shit, and you're right next to him. It puts you in danger. The only rule that I know of, as far as like everybody's like, oh, no women or kids, no. Honestly, you guys, it's just no kids. A bitch will get fucked up in a second. I'm not trying to push that line, you guys, but the truth has to be told, right? So now, Bougie's girlfriend was like, I don't even like talking about this, but Bougie's girlfriend was like the closest thing I've ever seen to like a slave, y'all, in the modern world. Like, didn't really like to do drugs, but he forced her to. She just went to work and he just smoked all her money up and just beat on her and did heinous shit to her, and she just accepted this shit though, right? So one day I went over to Crackhead Pete's house. This is one of the worst things I've probably ever seen. And I've seen a lot of shit, but for some reason, I'm going to say this is probably one of the worst things I've seen, right? So Crackhead Bougie, I come walking in, and I'm like, where's Sarah at? Because I know she's like always like right there, like literally like a dog, right? Or else like she's at work. I don't know why I asked this. But I was like, yes, where's Sarah at? And he's like, and she really wasn't a bad person. She just was with a bad person. Sarah really wasn't a bad person, y'all. She really wasn't. But she did anything he said to do. Connive somebody, rip them off, do this, say that, like all type of shit, man. So this would put her in bad situations, you know, but she wasn't a bad person, man, by nature. Okay? So I'm like, where's Sarah at? All of a sudden he's like, she's over there in the fucking corner like a dog. And I look over in the corner and she's on all fours. She's like, bark like a dog, bitch. Bark like the dog you are, bitch. And I'm like, damn, like, and I'm not saying anything. I'm just kind of stunned, right? So I haven't really seen this kind of fucking control. So she starts barking like a dog, but she's super embarrassed to bark like it wasn't funny to her. There was no comedy to this. As you guys are probably laughing because you're fucking sick, right? There's no comedy to this, man. So all of a sudden he runs over and football kicks her. And he's like a big ass fucking 220 pound fat sloppy crackhead. You know what I'm saying? So he's got like a little bit of like crackhead strength from time to time. So he runs over and he's just probably just in a rage, just coming down, whatever. Runs over and just football kicks her like in the ribs. And then I think he punched her a couple of times. And then he pulls out his limp crackhead dick and sticks it in her mouth. I swear, man. And I'm just like, I'm still tripping off her barking like a dog. And now it's escalated to him raping. Now I'm going to say this because even though that was his girlfriend and she accepted that, I could tell she didn't want to do that, and that shit would classify as a rape. Like, if that shit was like, nah, bro, like, even if she did that before or after, that act was a sexual assault. It was, man. That act was a sexual assault. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Right? So this is Crackhead Bougie's fucking DNA, his MO. So don't feel sorry for this motherfucker, because he was scum of the earth, right? So unfortunately, he runs, leaves his girlfriend to take the fucking repercussions for what he did. See, this is that dropout PC shit, right? This is that he runs off, doesn't take his medicine for spray painting Tiny's car. He runs off, runs right into the neighbor's fucking door. Mind you, it's like, I think it's about like midnight or something. It's at night. He runs right into the neighbor's door, sets their house alarm off, man. So their house alarm goes off. Police flood the neighborhood. Probably faster than a 911 dispatch. Boom. All of a sudden, the cops just flood the neighborhood. They catch 2 carloads of people exiting, leaving the scene, right? They're already in the cars, pulling off, and the cops pull up on them as they're leaving. Now, a couple of them run, and everybody else gets caught. I think one person ran when the cops turned around to go back to their car. One person got away, right? And the cops kind of knew it because there was a car door open, but they never really figured that shit out. So one person got away, but he ended up, I think, getting snitched on by one of the other 4 people that got caught, right? So I hear this story and I'm like, what the fuck? Everybody's in jail with some serious ass charges. Home invasion, 2nd-degree assault, just all type of shit. I forgot how bad it was. The charges were bad. They were looking at it like serious time, okay, for that.